Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering woke Wonder Woman game canceled as multiple game studios shut down. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. From Cosmic Book News, new Wonder Woman cancellation details. Sounds woke. And from Deadline, Wonder Woman video game scrapped, 3 studios shut down, and latest strategic change for Warner Brothers games. And that Park Place is not too happy about this. Warner Brothers cancels Wonder Woman game, closes Shadow of Mordor studio, yet keeps Rocksteady open as games division continues to reel from Sweet Baby Incorporated's failure. My sense on this is Cosmic Book News probably has this story right. The game they were developing for Wonder Woman, even though they've spent $100 million on it, when Warner Brothers executives finally looked at what they were actually doing, they realized they were going to have another Suicide Squad on their hands. New details have emerged about the Wonder Woman video game, including possible reasons for its cancellation. And it might be because the game was really woke. Warner Brothers already lost $200 million on the failure of the woke Suicide Squad game, so it's likely they didn't want to make the same mistake twice. It's also crucial for Warner Brothers to show their investors that they do know what they're doing with the DC franchise, and that if they're going to have a video game division, which they decided to definitely not sell, they were considering selling it, then they decided, no, we're going to hold on to this. If they're going to make their own games, they need to know how to make their games and make money. They did great with Harry Potter. They did terrible with the Suicide Squad game. Why is that? Do they not even understand their own properties? They really can't afford to have a major bomb, especially one from the DC universe. If they're not sure about what they're doing with the DCU, they shouldn't do anything with the DCU until they're confident they know what customers want and they're delivering on that. The Wonder Woman game was also announced after the woke disaster that was Wonder Woman 1984, where Pedro Pascal played the villain modeled after Trump. Interestingly, reports suggest that Warner Brothers already spent $100 million on the Wonder Woman game. If the claims below were true, that the game didn't stall or fail, then why would Warner Brothers cancel it? In their announcement, Warner Brothers Games confirmed they're instead focusing on proven IPs, which include Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, which means Batman, and Game of Thrones. In related news, Chinese company NetEase recently fired the Seattle-based developers from Marvel Rivals because they're said to be lazy, entitled, slow, and woke, even though Marvel Rivals has been a successful game. Alarm bells go off when it's learned that the Wonder Woman video game had a fantastic and deeply meaningful story. A developer working on the game who goes by Tracy and uses they-them pronouns added, especially in these difficult times, I felt the world really needed the story we're telling. That's a pretty good giveaway that this probably was not a good game. The Wonder Woman game seems woke because it sounds like it would have been all about sending the message instead of delivering a quality story and gameplay experience. Many franchises have taken a similar approach, leading to well-documented failure, including Disney's Star Wars, Marvel, Doctor Who, and others. Game industry expert Grums on X adds, quote, if this is true about Wonder Woman, the phrase, I felt the world really needed the story we are telling actually means we were ready to turn our game into a propaganda tool to resist and own the chuds, in which case, we're lucky the game is canceled. Grums added in another tweet, quote, all the layoffs have affected Western and mostly US studios, while the rest of the industry has thrived. There is a direct correlation between the amount of infection by the woke mind virus and the death of studios. It doesn't have to be this way. There's even more red flags when it's learned that DC comic writer Gail Simone served as a consultant on the game. Simone is reportedly part of a woke group of female and trans comic book creators known as the Whisper Network, which aims to cancel and harass male comic book creators while replacing them with its own members. Simone also had a meltdown when Trump won re-election. Here's what Gail Simone had to say. Okay, regarding the Wonder Woman video game, others have already revealed elsewhere that I was a consultant on this game, so that Cheetah is out of the bag. I want to say a couple important things about the game and the team who made it. I was asked to do long-term consulting on the game, and I was thrilled to do it. It was a perfect storm of stuff I adore. Wonder Woman, video games, and one of my favorite video game studios, Monolith, who produced the Game of the Year, Mordor games, that I was completely addicted to. The game was gorgeous and expansive, it was beautiful to look at, I'm not going to give details for a number of reasons, but every effort was made to make this not just a great game, but a great Wonder Woman game, a showpiece epic. And all of that was because of the team. Everyone who worked on it brought their A game. Programmers, artists, designers, everyone. I don't know that I've ever worked with a team that cared more about making sure the end product was perfect. It was a dream come true. Wonder Woman had a dream team and they put their all into it. They made sure it had Wonder Woman and DC lore on every aspect of the game. It was a thrill and an honor to work with them. I know there's a lot of finger pointing going on, but everyone I worked with from Monolith and Warner Brothers both was enthusiastic and supportive. Everyone wanted to make the best game ever. Sometimes you give your all and it doesn't work out, but that was an amazing team and I can only hope they continue to make brilliant games. Someone is going to snap them all up and set a new industry standard, I know it. When you have creative control by a lot of people that are trying to push political agendas into entertainment content, you have a destroyed brand. They did it again and again and again and again. And it's really impossible to imagine that just coincidentally, their propaganda and their ideological theories in no way could have damaged, ruined, or made unrecognizable a brand that would have been bad for Warner Brothers, bad for DC, and something fans generally just rejected. Wonder Woman 1984 really was terrible, and that was completely unnecessary because the previous Wonder Woman was actually good. People loved it. Men liked it, women liked it, it did well. And the sequel should have also made a ton of money and been successful. But it didn't make money, and it wasn't successful. And it's not just Wonder Woman getting shut down. Warner Brothers is shutting down 3 of their game studios. From Deadline, Wonder Woman video game scrapped, 3 studios shut down, and latest strategic change for Warner Brothers games. The Warner Brothers Discovery division confirmed the moves to Deadline in a statement on Tuesday. Quote, "We have to make some very difficult decisions to structure our development studios and investments around building the best games possible with our key franchises. Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, and Game of Thrones. After careful consideration, we're closing 3 of our development studios, Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers Games San Diego. Monolith had been developing the Wonder Woman game, which will no longer move forward. The division described the collection of moves as a strategic change in direction and not a reflection of these teams or the talent that consists within them. For Wonder Woman, the goal had been to give players and fans the highest quality experience possible for the iconic character, and unfortunately, this is no longer possible with our strategic priorities." Okay, I'm going to give you the corporate speak translation on that one. They don't like what they saw. That is the bottom line. When management really took a look at it, they said, you know what? No, we don't like this. We don't like this direction for Wonder Woman. This is too close to what we did with Wonder Woman 1984. This is not what the fans wanted. We didn't make the money we wanted to make with it. We're not going to go forward with something that's going to permanently etch in concrete, at least for the next 10 years or so, a take on Wonder Woman that just doesn't work for the brand and doesn't work for our audience. That's what that statement sounds like. Given Monolith's storied history, the shutdown is another tough decision as we recognize Monolith's history of delivering epic fan experiences through amazing games, according to the statement. We greatly admire the passion of the 3 teams and thank every employee for their contributions. As difficult as today is, we remain focused on and excited about getting back to producing high-quality games for our passionate fans and developed by our world-class studios and getting our games business back to profitability and growth in 2025 and beyond. Warner Brothers Gaming Unit has hit a particularly rocky period after releasing top-selling title Hogwarts Legacy in 2023. Last month, the company said David Haddad was stepping down from his post as president after a 12-year run. Developing properties in-house, as Netflix and other new gaming entrants have discovered, is often an expensive and time-consuming process. Many media companies have opted to license their franchises to third-party gaming specialists. In its quarterly earnings report last November, the company announced it was taking a $100 million impairment charge for underperforming releases like Multiverses, and that's to say a $100 million loss. The division needs to, quote, deliver more consistency, according to CEO David Zaslav, who said this on an earnings call with Wall Street analysts. And that's the thing in business. If you're going to get into the business, we understand, even in entertainment business especially, there will be some hits, there will be some losses. But what's really unforgivable is if you're working on something that is ill-conceived and you continue to carry it through and you just release it and take massive losses for no reason when you could have stopped it earlier. And it sounds like and it feels like what they've been doing with their video game division really has been so hit or miss that the Hogwarts Legacy was successful and that's great, except did they make it successful or were they just lucky? Because with the failure of Suicide Squad and the necessity to close down these studios and take $100 million loss on just this Wonder Woman game alone because they're canceling it, it does feel like they kind of just don't know what they're doing. And in that case, they really should do less until they can figure out exactly what works for them and what doesn't work for them. Maybe they will license their games out now. They shouldn't have to do that if they have their own video game company, but if they can't manage their video game company properly, if they don't know how to make things work, then they should close down their studios and license out as much as possible. Maybe they'll just make their key games. If I were at Warner Brothers, I would say, how can we aggressively produce more Harry Potter games exactly like the way we produced the one that made all this money for us, and really focus just on that or anything else that we're guaranteed that we know how to make it, we know what the customer wants, and it's guaranteed to make money. And then increase the frequency to the point that customers don't want it anymore. You saturate up until the point of market acceptance, and then build all your models around that. And the more of those games they produce where they know they're going to make money and they know what they're doing in terms of production and execution, and they don't have to reinvent the wheel, the more they'll develop rules, systems, ways of evaluating what they're doing that they can then apply to other intellectual property and just make sure that when you make a Wonder Woman game or you make something else that you're not quite sure, should we do this, shouldn't we do this, that you have a rules-based system you can apply your analysis to. There's no doubt that Harry Potter fans like the Harry Potter game. Work backwards from there. Figure out how to get that Harry Potter style feedback where you're making sure that fans of your intellectual property are excited about and happy to get and support the project that you're doing based on your intellectual property. Warner Brothers can figure it out, but it looks like they're going to have to close down as many studios as it takes until they do. That Park Place has its own take. And their take is, why are you keeping their Rocksteady division open when Rocksteady is the studio that put out the Suicide Squad game that failed so spectacularly? That's a good point. And I can only hope that the people at Warner Brothers did actually analyze what it was they were doing and then came to a good understanding that, okay, we can still use our Rocksteady division and it will be productive and it will produce things that people actually want to buy that are on brand, and not another Suicide Squad style game. Another reason why they might be keeping Rocksteady in place is that Rocksteady is rumored to be working on a new Batman game. Here's what That Park Place says. Despite Monolith's strong track record, Warner Brothers Games chose to shut them down while Rocksteady, responsible for the Suicide Squad game, remains operational and is rumored to be developing a new Batman game. It's a slap in the face to fans who watch Rocksteady's fumble with the Suicide Squad. And with Sweet Baby's heavy-handed involvement, those are the guys giving their consultancy for how woke the game should be and ruin the storylines, the characters, for diversity, equity, and inclusion. All of that leading to one of the most expensive missteps in gaming history. I'm a fan of the management team from Warner Brothers since before when they did the merger for Warner Brothers and Discovery to make it Warner Brothers Discovery. I'm confident these guys can figure it out. The one concern I have about them so far is I'd like to see a lot more hype, promotion, social media excitement for Superman. It's coming out in just a few months, and pretty much not enough people are talking about it for it to become a hit. They need hype before the movie so that people are excited to see the movie. They did that with Barbie, but for some reason they can't seem to pull it together with Superman. Superman had better be good. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.